Day, Bengals fans. Welcome to the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of your Cincinnati Bengals. Jake is off and doing some fun things with the family, so today we've got our special guest, Justin Wells, joining us today, our draft expert. Thank you for joining us, Justin. And the man, the myth, the legend, the Supermon, Mon Obelspossen. How's it going, guys? Justin, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. And I'm trying to get my audio set up. I can barely hear you guys. I'm sorry. Keep on talking while I work on this.
Yeah, send those refunds.
Yeah, send the refunds for those speakers or those AirPods. Jesus, we need to upgrade the studio here. Well, it's we left the last podcast really coming off of a high of T Higgins and Jamar Chase signing, and we thought we were going to roll into a Wednesday where Trey Hendrickson got extended and a Thursday where we bring in Brandon Scherf. And instead, we get news that Tevin Jenkins has signed with the Browns, so we can officially flush him down. And on a little underwhelming news that the Bengals are hosting a Kappa-like guard named Lucas Patrick. Before we get into all that, Justin, since this is your first trip to the Pulse this year, why don't you give us your thoughts on the T. Higgins and the Jamar Chase news? How'd you feel about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, exciting. I actually thought the T. Higgins deal was pretty friendly to the Bengals, all things considered. Um, but then, of course, the as much as they ended up having to pay for Jamar, I think it kind of evens out. But yeah, I mean, you love being able to lock those two guys down for 4 more years, and it, there's going to be a lot of offensive fireworks. Now they got to go get the rest of those pieces around him, go finish shoring up the offensive line and getting the defense settled. Because definitely those are two areas that still need some work. But hey, at least they got the cornerstones in place, and we can finally move past that storyline, that chatter of what's going to happen, what are they going to be able to get both of them back. So finally get that behind us, and that feels good.
Yeah, it definitely does. It felt like it was a little piece to go. Mon, what do you think about this news of Lucas Patrick? I think you've done a deep dive into his highlight from last year, the one. I think there was one, right? What do you think about Lucas Patrick coming in and saving the day?
I have no problem with him coming in as a depth piece. He started 10 games for the Saints last year. He's played a lot of football. By no means is he a superstar. Um, is he an upgrade compared to what we had last year? Probably, but that's not saying much. And I'm not trying to be negative towards him. He's a good depth piece. If he's a full time starter, I think we could be in trouble. As Justin said, with Higgins and Chase being signed, those distractions that's a positive thing. That's good for the Bengals. There's not going to be any talk about that in training camp, but guys, we got to acknowledge something. We had a critical roster flaw last year that kept us out of the playoffs, and that's that interior offensive line and a couple pieces on the defensive line. We just got to get better there. And tonight with our mock draft, I think we're going to make the Bengals a better team when we get done with our draft tonight.
Yeah, that's kind of the mood around here. Bengals aren't going to sign their players, so let's go draft them. You don't want to pigeonhole yourself into that, but every day that we don't get these signings, it feels like that's where we're going to go and that's where it's going to be. I I'd be interested to see, at this point, if we go into the draft exactly with this roster, maybe we're adding Trey. I really think 17 has to be a trade back because if you're going with this many holes, you're going to need extra picks. You can't just rely on those six that you have. So when we get into the simulator later, I think we need to explore some of those trades that come through and find a way to plug all these holes. Duke has kind of shot himself in the foot. You know, Traditionally draft picks hit maybe 50% of the time, but Duke's kind of pigeonholed himself here, not to use that term over and over again, but now we're looking at having to hit on 75% of these guys because they got to come in and they got to play right away. Um, Before we get into the draft stuff, let's kind of talk about where you think we should go in the first round. There's been a lot of talk about defensive tackle and defensive line being really deep this year.
Hmm.
With this lack of guard signings, does that mean that we're going to have to pass on a defensive tackle in the first round and go after a lineman? Justin, what do you think? How do those two compare to for depth this year?
Well, first off, Eric, I totally agree. Depending on how the draft shakes out and what is available at 17, I totally agree. A trade has to be at least in the mix to pick up some, to grab some extra picks. 100%. I think it's something they have to at least consider. But if there's a guy they really like that's there at 17, I'm good with. Wait, is it 17 or 19? I'm sorry.
17.
17.
Yeah. If there's a guy they're really sold on at 17, then absolutely stick with that spot. And yeah, guard, defensive, edge, interior defensive line. I think those are the three, positions that make the most sense. But considering some of the issues in the secondary, if they went safety or corner, I couldn't blame them there either. But yeah, trade definitely has to be at least in the mix, depending on who's there, who's available, and what gets offered. And then, with the positions, yeah, preferably it's going to be one of those three spots: edge, offensive line, likely interior. But if an offensive tackle's your BPA, then you can go there and maybe shift some guys around, and then of course interior defensive line.
Mon, who are your targets? What are you thinking?
No, I agree with both of you. I would be stunned if they finish this draft with only 6 picks. I fully expect to trade somewhere in the first 2 rounds. My only concern is this: at 17, I want them to go BPA. If there's a player that slides at the top 10 pick that goes 17, they need to consider it. But at the same time, they're in a position now where it's almost they're drafting for a need, because that interior offensive line, guys, it's pretty alarming. That hole there, it's bad. Slayton from Green Bay, I think it fills a big need for that Bengal defensive line. I think he's going to help a lot more than people realize. They still need bodies on that defensive line. And Justin, you said something a few minutes ago. A lot of Bengal fans might not like this, but if there's a safety or a cornerback there at 17, you need to jump on him. I mean, you can never have enough of them. If Malachi Starks is there, how can they not draft him? I hate to say it. I know he probably doesn't drive well coming from Athens, Georgia, but still, how can you not consider somebody like that? But we're almost at the point where, if there's an offensive lineman that's ranked 27th, 30th, and he's there at 17, they might just pick him when there might be a player ranked in the 10, 12 area they might pass on. I think that's bad business. I really do, but we'll see how that shakes out. I would not be shocked if they trade back from 17. It's going to be an interesting 40 days here before the draft.
Oh, and
Yeah.
to your point, Mon, I think that's what aggravates probably a lot of Bengal fans, not just myself, is not necessarily getting the big name signings. I don't necessarily care about, winning free agency, but just filling needs so that you have more flexibility when you go and draft in the first and second round, where you can take BPA, where, hey, if a wide receiver ranked 6 is there at 17, well, we can, even though we just spent a whole bunch of money on Jamar and T, you can consider taking that guy. But now, if say McMillan from Arizona drops to 17, I mean, they'd be crazy to draft him, even though I think he's going to be a phenomenal receiver in the NFL. They really do. It feels like they do this every year, where they box themselves into a corner in the draft and only allow themselves to really consider 3 or 4 positions. And then, like going back to last year, the defensive tackle that ended from Texas who went to the Seahawks. I mean, they were pretty much locked in on him, and then he goes 1 pick ahead, and then it's like now you're scrambling. And don't get me wrong, I was happy with the Mims pick, but again, those are the types of situations that get created when you have that approach to free agency.
Yeah, Jake was crazy about the Mims pick. He called it for months. He was so happy.
He was trying to actually move to Mims, Florida. He was so happy.
He cracks me up because he's still trying to rewrite history And Eric has the receipts. So
Oh yeah.
We know.
I think my life's mission, the reason that I joined the Pulse was just so that I could prove Jake when he's wrong, I can pull the receipts. Uh, so the Bengals have certainly boxed themselves into a corner here. I've got two parts of this. I want to circle back, but before I circle back to Justin on this, we are still late in free agency, so this is an early draft. Can the Bengals unbox themselves? Can they get out of this? Right now, we have to have a defensive tackle or an offensive lineman in those first two rounds. Is there anything they can do in the next week or two? I guess leave even a month here because it's a month till the draft to
Yeah.
get themselves out of this corner before we really get into this draft stuff. Mon, how could they do that?
yeah, there are some pieces out there that could come in and help them. Band-aids. Brandon Sheriff would be great. A good get. I'm roll the dice on a Will Hernandez. I know he's coming off an ACL. He's been a solid player. Somebody like him, even a safety like a Blackman that played for the Colts, he'd be a good depth piece there. There are players there that can make your team better. I think Sheriff would be a great addition. He would be an instant starter, and he would give that interior offensive line some credibility right there. I would have no problem with them signing Patrick. Patrick is he started multiple games. He could come in and give you 2-3 solid starts. I just don't want them to be, Cody Ford and Patrick to be our penciled in interior offensive lineman. We can do better than that, and I think they will. And there's still some time. There's still some good players out there.
Yeah. So my goal is, and we've said this a lot, my goal was just like Justin said, fill those needs, fill those starters. They may not be high paid starters, but you plug those holes so that you can go into the draft and grab the best player available every single time. Either the best player available or trade back to the best deal available. We had this on our round table. We had a debate, and Ace and I were on the side of one opinion, and Mon, Jake, and Zim were on the other side. And last night we got Carl Pickens siding with myself and Ace.
That was a great interview.
Ashton Genty. If Ashton Genty falls, you got to settle the debate first, Justin. If Ashton Genty falls to 17, are you running up to draft him, or are you saying I'm not going to take the best running back in this draft, arguably the second best person in this draft, just because I don't need him?
I love Ashton Genty. He's phenomenal running back. What a great year he had. I mean, arguably a top 3 or 4 season out of a running back all time in college football. That would be a tough one. It would really depend on who else is on the board, because I'm really of the opinion that running back is, well, I'm happy to see the position is sort of had a resurgence in the last year or two, especially last season. I still think you can get good value later in the draft. And I'm a big fan of the kid out of Iowa who's actually from the Cincinnati area, if I'm not mistaken. Is it Caleb Johnson? Is that his name?
Doug from Iowa State?
No, from Iowa.
Oh, I'm not sure on that. He's a local Cincinnati high school kid?
Yeah.
I'll have to look
Yeah,
that
he's
up.
from Hamilton. He's from Hamilton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Caleb Johnson. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
He had a really great season too, and I wouldn't say he was necessarily overlooked because he did get a lot of buzz, but with so much of the attention focused on Genty, I think he flew under the radar more than he normally would.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's good options. I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to it, but it would depend on who else is available. If there's a run on DNs and an offensive lineman, and your best bet is either a corner or safety and Ashton Genty, yeah, maybe you make that pick.
Yeah, I think, if we were staring down that pick, I think I would be vastly disappointed because I think that another team would be running up to trade to the Bengals, and we would get a haul for that pick because they're taking the player that we should draft. But that is what it is.
Another one I'd put in that category is Tyler Warren. I mean, I'm a huge fan
I was
of him.
about to say that.
I mean, if he's there at 17, and again, you got to run on edges, and offensive linemen and defensive tackles, and you're kind of limited on what your options are there. And then you got Tyler Warren. You'd have to. I don't think he's quite on Brock Bowers level, but I think he's close, and he's a lot taller, a lot bigger target. So there's that as well.
I just want to say something real quick. If there's something about this organization, they love fancy offensive gadgets, offensive toys, wide receivers, quarterbacks. They could be enamored by one of those two and snatch them up at 17. I personally think you can't keep on kicking it down the road. You have got to fix the interior offensive line. 100%. No more ifs, ands, or buts. You got to, because guys, that magical year that Joe had last year, those hits he took, some of them self-inflicted. I get it, but they're not sustainable. They are not sustainable, and they got to fix it.
Yeah. So I get your opinion on one last guy. I don't know what it is in me, but I'm a sucker for a really cool last name. Some of my favorite basketball players were Timberwolves Wally Zerbiak, Tom Gugliotta. Maybe it's because I'm friends with Mon Abelhassan and my last name is Wolfschlager. But tell me about Cam Scatabo. What do you think about if he falls to the Bengals? Like I just think that would be cool. Just to have a cool name in the backfield. What do you think?
I'm a huge fan. I hate making a comparison to another white running back, but there's definitely a bit of Rex Burkhead there, but he's got like an edge to him that you don't he's got that they call it got that dog, and he is a really nice player. I wouldn't want to see him go too high. Like if you make that pick in the third or fourth round, I like it because he's built. He's put together. He's like 215, 220 pounds. So you're talking about a guy who's, built to take those hits in the NFL. And he's a very versatile, great runner, but also great receiver out of the backfield. So gives you a little bit of that multi-dimensional threat. Yeah, I would be a huge, if you can get him in the third or fourth round. I'm a big fan of that pick. Absolutely. Maybe even a little later.
Yeah, just watching the little bit that I got to watch of him. I mean, he looks like a good complement to Chase Brown. I think it definitely could be a good addition.
Taj Brooks, that's who I like from Texas Tech. He's 230 pounds. I think he'd be a great compliment. But Justin, let me ask you a quick question. I know you're a giant Gator fan. I think everybody knows that, watches our show. Tell us about Slayton that we signed from the Packers. Give us a scouting report on him.
Yeah, so it's funny because I remember when he signed out of high school, he committed late to the Gators, and he was actually originally projected as a guard, but he was insistent on playing defensive tackle. And you're talking about a guy who's really athletic. After 4 years in the NFL, I don't know how much upside there is yet, but he kind of came on slow at UF and then put together a nice final season, went into the draft, and then because he tested extremely well, ended up being, I think, a fourth round pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a guy who's 6'4", 330 pounds, but has really great, incredible athleticism for his size. I'm a little surprised he hasn't been more productive, because with that athleticism, you would think he'd be able to do a little bit more in the backfield in terms of sacks and impacting the game in the backfield. But he hasn't been uber productive, but is a really solid, really nice piece. I think will give us more of that DJ Reader type presence, hopefully. Yeah. I'm not saying he's on that level, but he has the size, he has the athleticism, he has the strength. I really think it's a really nice, solid signing. Didn't necessarily move the needle, but that's one of those are the signings I'm talking about. The ones that don't necessarily command a lot of flash, but clearly the Bengals front office did their homework and saw this was a guy who, I think he's 27, 28, might still have a little upside in him, might be able to get a little more out of him than they were able to in Green Bay. So, I'm a big fan of that pick or a pickup, and I think he could be a really nice player for the Bengals.
Yeah, I was thinking about him and the Patrick guy that's coming in tomorrow for a interview or visit with the Bengals. I think the Bengals will end up signing the guard from the Saints. I think the Bengals are playing a little bit of money ball right now because Slayton, his PFF numbers this year were pretty average. The year before and the year before that, they were pretty damn good. So I think the Bengals are like, hey, man, this guy flashed for 2 years. He had a pedestrian year last year. And same thing with Patrick. I think the guard only gave up 2 sacks or something, maybe 5 penalties. His stats this year really weren't that bad. He had over 800 pass block snaps, and his PFF numbers are pretty decent. So I think the Bengals are sort of playing a little bit of money ball, thinking these guys are going to come in and give them some quality snaps and quality depth. And I'm excited about Slayton because the Bengals were not a big team on that defensive line last year. They didn't really have a big body. McKinley Jackson's 320, 325. I think Slayton is 335, 340. They needed another big body because those defensive tackles were washed out and teams ran it down our throat.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Go ahead, Justin.
No, I agree. I mean, that's with what they have coming back and adding Slayton. I mean, I don't. Defensive tackle might not necessarily be quite as much of a priority now. If you have a chance to go that position early in the draft and there's a guy there, then sure. But Slayton was one who I think at least takes the priority down on that position at least a little bit.
Point.
And those are the signings, to go back to Eric, what you were talking about earlier. Those are the signings you need to make to give yourself more of a chance to go BPA. If you gotten Taven Jenkins or like you said, Mon, go get Brandon Scherf. That's one where it takes the need down on the offensive line. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and maybe they're feeling a little burnt by history. I mean, we had Riley Reef a few years ago. We had Lyle Collins. We had Sheldon Rankins last year. We've taken swings at a lot of these guys and missed. So maybe they're saying, hey, you know what? We'll just plug in some cheap guys and see, because they can't do any worse than some of these expensive guys. On the Slayton thing, I will say his best years were when Jerry and Montgomery were in Green Bay with him. And the thing that I heard listening to some of his interviews was to speak to your rushing the quarterback and stuff. He just wants to. I stop the run. I stop the run. He's like the guy that I pick him up. I put him down. Like I stop the run. Like he's more obsessed with taking up 2 gaps and occupying somebody else so somebody else can go get the quarterback. He doesn't care about that. They're not going to run on him, and his numbers proved it. Even last year, he was one of the better run defenders out there. So that does give me some excitement to hear that.
Yeah, and that's and you need those guys on the defensive line. My point is that for being as big as he is, the guy is an incredible athlete. If you look at his combine numbers, I mean, he tests really well.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, we got our targets. We think we've talked the ears off. No breaking news has happened while we're talking. So let's get to our mock draft. See how we can fix this team through the draft. Let me get my screen up here. We are going to take a swing at Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator. Let me zoom in on that a little bit so you guys can see. We are going to go 6 rounds because right now the Bengals only have 6 picks. I guess we can't zoom in. You guys...
when we get done, they're going to have 15 picks, so they won't pick until the 3rd round because we're going to trade everything.
All right, let's go ahead and go into the draft here. We are going to do. We're going to put it on fast, and we're gonna see what things come our way. So we're rolling in already, and before we even get to our pick, not sure who's all off the board here, but Patriots are offering us pick 38 and 69. I'm gonna reject the hell out of that, right?
That's too far. That's too far.
Yeah.
This is an intriguing one. Pick 25 and pick 58 from the Texans.
That's closer to our wheelhouse there.
Yeah, it is. I hate the trade with a team that we're going to compete against. But, buddy, that's pretty sweet.
I don't know.
I like that. I like people in the chat. What do you think? Should we accept the 25th pick and pick 58? I think that's a good deal.
This thing that does frustrate me that we can't really see who's there. It does look like Tyler Warren's gone.
Do me a favor. Click on next.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, next.
Just click on next, and
Oh, okay.
Oh, that
Ooh.
one
Pick
I would keep
18 and
that.
pick that.
Let's
So this
take
is a
that one.
no-brainer to me because
Yeah.
you only move back one spot and you pick up a
Yep.
top 100 pick.
Do it.
Yep.
Do it.
All right. So for those that are listening on audio, the Seahawks have offered us pick 18 and pick 92 to move back one spot. We're going to accept it, and then we're going to go see who's here.
Let's do it.
Who did they take?
Oh, before we
No,
can even see who's here, we get
no,
another trade offer.
no.
No.
Let's
No.
pick. Let's pick. Just reject everything.
Well, hold on. Let's see.
Whoa.
Let's see first.
Oh. Oh. No.
No,
No.
not that. No.
Go back real quick. Wow.
Pick 26. The Rams are offering us pick 26 and a second round pick next year. I'm going to say anything that includes the next year we just boot because we need to fix this
Oh,
defense
yeah.
this
I think
year.
Yeah. Reject it.
let's reject it. Yep, let's reject.
Yeah, let's go see
Okay.
what players we got.
So we got both the two offensive linemen there. I mean,
Oh, yeah. The kid from Missouri
Armand.
tested off the charts.
yeah,
And he's 330 pounds. He's not a small. He could play. They
he could
project
play
him to play
inside.
guard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be. That's where I'd go here.
He's the star of the combine. He's about 330. Perfect. He could be a long-term answer. I'm all for Mumbu from Missouri.
Yep.
Okay. So
I'm in agreement.
let's summarize for our audio listeners here. Just to go back, Cam Ward went number 1. I don't like this pick. Travis Hunter going number 2 to the Browns. They have him rated as a cornerback, but we know Travis Hunter wants to play cornerback and wide receiver. Uh, really hate that for him because we see what the Browns do to everybody. Our boy Ashton Genty goes to the Raiders at 6. I think that might be his floor. I really think that they're going to be enamored with that talent level of his. Mason Graham goes 9 to the Saints.
Tyler Booker
Mal-
went 11? Are you kidding me?
Top
Wow.
Tyler Booker goes 11 to the Niners.
I don't know about that.
Malachi Starks to the Dolphins. Yep.
Eric, I think we pick Imbo from Missouri.
Yep.
Okay.
That's where I'm
So
going.
you guys think he's going to be moved to guard?
Yes, he could be our left tackle when Orlando Brown leaves too. So we got to pick
Orlando Brown's not leaving, so he's going to play guard then.
2 or 3
right?
years.
Yeah. So Armand Membo, 6'4", 332 pounds, relative athletic score of 9.89. We are going to soar up one of these guard spots and draft him.
And he is BPA. According to this simulator, he was BPA.
Yep, that
Okay.
worked out very nicely.
So we are now sitting at pick 49. Jacksonville's offering 88,
Yeah, that's
126. I'd say no.
Nope.
No.
Yeah. So we only have 2 offers. The Rams are offering 75 and 90. We're going to reject that and see who's here.
Pick rocks.
Yeah. All right. What do we got?
Some top available on the board: Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle, Ohio State; Josh Connolly, offensive tackle; Caleb Johnson, he's ranked 53rd; cornerback out of Florida State.
Yeah, Ray Thomas. Yeah, he's a nice player.
Ooh, wow. Justin, I know you know number 58 there, Princely. He played for the Gators a couple years ago.
He's very athletic. I mean, that would not be a terrible pick.
Eric, go back up to the top there. Just X out of that. Let's, guys, at the combine, this guy flew off the charts. He's a defensive back from Ole Miss, Amos.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I know cornerback were young there, but that dude was sick at the combine. That's somebody we need to consider.
Yeah, but you got a defensive tackle, the highest rated person on the board right there. You're going to pass up a defensive tackle for another corner?
From Ohio State.
30th. He's 30th on the big board, Tyleik Williams, 334 pounds.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
We got some people in the chat. Yeah, played at Ohio State. Anybody in the chat tell us is he great or not? I know that's what you want, a defensive tackle. You want those big guys in there, 334 pounds.
I get it, but I think we need pass rushing. Trey Hendrickson, still an unknown, guys. Our hearts want him to stay. As of this draft, he hasn't signed with the Bengals. We're getting to the quarterback is going to be huge. I know we have Miles Murphy. He hasn't really produced much. I'm still high on him. I'm all for Princely, personally. But the defensive tackle, I wouldn't be upset. If they go trenches, first 2 picks, I'm not going to be upset. I want the pass rusher.
For the guy that wants to fix the trenches, you want the Corvette on the outside.
We cannot rush the passer. I know we have some promising
When's
young.
our next pick again?
We will pick on 81.
Okay.
Somebody who posted that BPA, you got to go BPA. Vanguard, it's a good point. And according to this simulator, BPA is Ty Williams.
Our problem has been we have had no interior pass rush.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
You add another edge. You've got Miles Murphy out there. You've got Osai. You're going to have Trey back. You have Cedric Johnson from last year. You draft another edge. I don't think that how much is he going to get out there? I just think, I don't know. You've preached trenches, trenches, trenches. He's the 30th ranked player on the board.
Okay.
Princely is the 58th ranked player.
Justin, who do you want?
That's a whole round disparity.
It's a tough one, but I think I'd have to lean toward Williams here.
All right, Eric, go for it. Pick Williams.
Okay. We do have some people in the chat saying Williams a run stuffer, not a pass rusher.
He is.
But to me, that's a whole round difference in their rankings.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, we're going to go with Tyleik Williams. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I think it's close.
All right, what do we got here?
So we're sitting at pick 81, and we're going to tell the Cardinals to pound sand because...
Yes, pound sand. Absolutely.
All right.
So we have an edge is our top-rated player, Braden Swinson, a tight end, Mason Taylor, wide receiver out of Utah, Jalen Royals, linebacker, edge. I'm going to scroll down. You guys, if somebody jumps up, just let me know.
Shamar Turner.
Really, those 2 LSU guys at the top that jump out for me. I mean, Swinson is had a nice season, decent spot, decent pick in the 3rd round. But Mason Taylor was really nice, and obviously he's got great bloodline. So,
yeah,
I mean that to me
is that Jason Taylor's son?
Yeah, it is.
Did Jason Taylor really name his son Mason Taylor?
Yes. Yep. He's also what's his face is the linebacker is his uncle for the Dolphins. Zach Thomas.
Thomas? Wow.
Zach Thomas. Okay. Yeah. Who's it going to be? I'm all for a tight end.
Yeah, I would be fine with Mason Taylor here.
Okay. You just argued for an edge, Mon. You're not going to argue for an edge here?
Let's BPA. Let's do it. He's the highest rated player. Well, actually, the defensive end is. You know what?
Yeah.
With Eric All, guys, I hate to say it. I don't know. The future is uncertain with him. He had another knee procedure. He's not going to play this year, obviously. Gesicki is more of a wide receiver to me. He's not a tight end. And we got the guy, McLaughlin, from Arizona State last year, or Arizona. Tight end's a sneaky need. It really is, because Cam Sample is another offensive lineman. He's another offensive lineman. He's not really a threat. I think Taylor would be a great
Drew Sample.
Yeah, Drew Sample.
We might get we got Cam Sample back too. That's another edge rusher. Maybe Mason Taylor can convert to edge rusher or linebacker. I mean, he's got the pedigree.
Are we good with him?
Yeah,
I'm good with him. All right, we're going to take Mason Taylor, tight end, out of LSU. We're just going to convert the Bengals to the Bayou Bengals here the way it's going. Might as well bring Justin Jefferson over too. This is intriguing. We've got pick 92, and the Vikings are offering 97 and a pick swap. So they want to give us 97 and 139, and we give them 92 and 193.
I'd be open to this.
I would too. You can't be go moving up 40 spots. Yeah, by all means.
Let's see what else we have, because we also have Tampa Bay.
No.
They're offering 121, 157. Let's go ahead and accept. Just looking over here, best players available right now. Oh, I don't know. Jalen Royals, safety at Ohio State, Holland Pierce, and then I see Cam Scatabo sitting here.
Did we accept the
Um,
trade? We
No.
accepted the trade.
I have not accepted it yet, but Cam Scadabo's one, two, three, four, fifth best available, and this
If we pick 3 offensive players with our first 4 picks, we deserve not to make the playoffs.
well, let's accept this pick, and Scatabo might still be there.
All right.
If he's not, then it's not meant to be. We're gonna accept this. We're gonna get move up 40 spots and move back
Let's
on
do
this
it.
one 5 spots. And look at
Nope.
that.
No more trades.
Yeah, we're
We
rejecting
got to
that.
pick.
So
All
we're
right.
sitting at 97, and the top players: Jalen Royals, wide receiver, Utah; Lathan
Yep.
Ransom, safety, Ohio State; Cam
Um,
Scatabo, Quinn Ewers.
yeah, I know there's. So personally, I would be really high on Jordan Birch right here. 6'4", 280, 8.5 sacks last year on a very good Oregon team. Very highly rated coming out of high school. Actually, originally signed with South Carolina and transferred to Oregon. I think that's a great value here.
Let's do it. I was thinking Ransom, the safety from Ohio State.
Ransom would be the other one too.
Yeah.
Um,
Guys, I know we have a lot of
gonna-
young people in our secondary. I'm still not sold on them. I know they're probably the deepest part of our defense, but there's just a big unknown there. But Justin is right. We need pass rushers. We passed on him because we took a tight end in the previous pick. I don't see how we can't take the guy from Oregon.
There is a guard sitting here from Georgia too. Do we know anything about this Athens, Georgia guard?
We hit it out of the park with our first pick. We hit it out of the park.
Yeah, but we still need 2 guards, Mon. We only got
we got
one.
the guy from the Saints.
We had probably the worst defense in football last year. We need defense.
We need Joe to be standing up.
I heard they almost hired the guy instead of Jake Gyllenhaal to do the new Roadhouse from the Saints. That's how. Yep, that's what I heard. Just saying.
All right, so who are we going with? You're going with Jordan Birch?
Let's do it.
All right, how many edge rushers did that put on our team? Cam Sample, Joseph Osai, Trey Hendrickson, Miles Murphy.
We keep
Getting
10.
up there.
We keep 10, but we can't include Trey yet. We cannot include him because he's technically not. Well, he is on the team.
Listen,
he is on the team.
He's on the team. He's under contract. It's Bengals extension or retired. That's where we're at right now.
All right. So
Listen, I wore the T. Higgins jersey until he signed. Give me that Hendrickson jersey off your wall. We'll make it happen.
Okay.
All right,
So
we're going to go
Birch-
with Jordan Birch. We're not going to delay this any longer.
All right,
All
let's
right.
do it.
And okay, we're sitting at pick 119. We have no trade offers. Our top available on the board are offensive tackle out of Oregon, Cornelius, another tackle out of NC State, Belton, safety out of Virginia, TCU wide receiver, another edge, another tackle. Let me know if you see anybody that piques your interest here, guys. Notre Dame defensive tackle.
Yeah, Howard Cross. Nice player at the college level, but a little undersized.
Yeah.
6'1", 285.
How many? We have 2 defensive tackles, right?
Yeah.
We do.
Or no, we got 2 defensive linemen. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean,
We got a D tackle and an edge.
Sanker from Virginia would be high on my list here.
Which one was that? Oh, Jonas Sanker.
Yeah.
6 foot 206. It's physicality and football intelligence, and that's kind of one of the things that we lacked last year. Excels in run support, has a quick trigger.
Is there a linebacker in the top 10 available?
No.
No.
Ollie Gordon. He was didn't have a great season this year, but had a phenomenal 2023. I'll
What
tell you what.
what's the highest ranked player right now, Eric? Go back down.
Offensive tackle, Ahani Cornelius.
All right. And then Sanker is right there.
Yeah, Sanker would be the 110th ranked player. Top ranked
Pick
player on
him.
the board is 103rd.
Pick him because
Well,
safety is still an unknown when you think about it.
can-
Geno Stone is Geno Stone, and Jordan Battle has a bright future, I think. But it's not like we have some studs back there.
all
He'd
right,
be
two more
what's that?
guys I want to highlight, not necessarily to go here, but just names to keep in mind for the future. If you go down to where I just lost it. 119, Tyler Barron. He was at Tennessee, played this last year at Miami, had great testing scores at the combine. Didn't have a huge, had a really great 2023. I think he was a little quieter this year at Miami, but he was very good at Tennessee, 6'4", 260. Another guy I'm very familiar with is Antoine Powell-Ryland at 131 from Virginia Tech. 6'2", about 260. Had big numbers, had a huge game against Miami this year. He was a Florida transfer to Virginia Tech, is originally from Virginia. So two guys I would say are in this, third mid-round potential edge options that we should keep an eye on for when we get to the draft.
Okay, so who's our pick
Yeah,
here?
but
I say Sanker.
All right.
Sanker. Well, keep in mind, because of the trades, we do have another pick in 20 picks. So some of these guys may still be available. We're currently at 119. We also have pick 139 and 153. So we're going to pull the trigger on the safety out of Virginia, Jonas Sanker, and either fill a need or add some much needed depth there at that safety position. Rolling along, we are coming up on 139, and top on the board is another offensive tackle, another safety, Ollie Gordon out of
We need to
running
consider
back.
we need we need to consider another running back, a bruiser,
Yeah,
somebody that can come in and be a change of pace back. Because I said it on the last episode. Um, Chase Brown is our starting running back, but he is what they did to him the last 6 games of the season. He carried the ball 20, 25 times, touched the ball. That's not sustainable for 17 games. They
yeah.
have to bring in somebody that's going to, spell him, give him a breather. And we need somebody that can convert on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. The Bengals can't do that. And with the big unknown of our guard play, we need somebody that's going to come in and smash somebody in the mouth. Gordon is 230, correct? He's a little
So
tall.
this is actually what you were just saying is really exactly what they have written up here. He's a massive running back who runs hard and possesses the toughness and raw power needed to bowl over defenders. He has plenty of experience and value as a pass catcher. 6'1", 226. I mean, that's kind of just what you said that we need. So I think everybody acknowledges, or most everybody acknowledges, that a running back is a sneaky need, and I don't think anybody would be upset in taking one in the fifth round. Everybody yells at me for wanting Genty in the first or Scatabo in the third, but to get a guy like this in the fifth, I think nobody could really be mad about that.
I'm not
Yeah.
crazy. I don't like running backs that are 6'1", almost 6'2". I think they take a lot of shots, but he is a big guy. I like Taj Brooks. He's like 5'11", 230, but I would not lose any sleep if we picked him. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, no, he had a rough. Well, Oklahoma State had a rough year in general, but he had a phenomenal 2023. I think, as a compliment to Chase Brown, that's a great fit here. And a name I'm going to bring up, I think he just came off the board. So another guy I might look at in this general vicinity is Danny Stutzman out of Oklahoma. 6'3", 235 pounds. He tested extremely well. Very productive
Yeah, looks like
linebacker at the college level.
in
Guys,
this mock, it looks like he went to the 121, but
we linebacker is a sneaky need also. It really is, but we definitely need a thumper at running back that can help us convert those 3rd and shorts, 4th and 1.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Ollie Gordon. I think that's a good choice here.
Let's do it, Eric.
Okay, let's take the running back, and everybody can yell at me. As we roll along here, the narrative that all of a sudden everybody's saying, "Oh, now Joe Burrow's got to score 50," when our defense only was worse than it was ever last year and only gave up 25.5 a game. It's just something else. But I'm all about scoring 50 a game. So rolling
I
into our, I think this
yeah.
is our last pick of the draft. We're at 153. So
I'm
far,
gonna,
we have picked an offensive tackle, which we're going to convert to guard, defensive tackle out of Ohio State, Mason Taylor, a tight end out of LSU,
I see a name
edge
right there that I
rusher.
like. I see a name right
Okay,
there I like a lot.
go ahead. Tell me who you want.
JJ, the defensive tackle from Ole Miss. The Bengals already have two people from Ole Miss on the roster. Justin, what is it with Mississippi? I mean, they had Amos, they had the guys from last year. The Bengals drafted. They got a little football factory developing at Ole Miss.
Well, they've always had talent. I mean, Mississippi in general produces a lot of good football players. I think in terms of per capita, I don't know if they still are, but at one point, I think that in terms of per capita, they produced more football players than any other state in the nation.
Wow.
He had a kind of a big year this year. They used him a lot on offense as like a short yardage back. I don't remember how many touchdowns he had. 7 looks like, but he didn't test very well. So I don't know. Riley Mills, I think, would be the defensive tackle I'd be looking at more here, more of a pass rusher, 6'5", 290. He had a really good year for the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, somebody knows him really well that's on the team right now.
And that can't be discounted. He's going to have a big say in that room, too.
I would be stunned if the Cincinnati Bengals do not draft at least one person from Notre Dame. I would be stunned. But
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Well,
Another body.
yeah, we did have some comments in the chat. Williams, we took out Ohio State, is more of a run defender, so he doesn't satisfy the interior pass rush that we're looking for either. So Riley Mills said an average run defender, but he is a consistently wins his pass rushing reps, had an 18.9% pass rush win rate in true pass sets in 2024, and in elite production in 2024 with 7.5 sacks. Can you imagine getting 7.5 sacks? Imagine 5 sacks from an interior defense lineman. What that would do for this team? Man, they wouldn't know where to go with Trey on the outside and interior rush like that.
It's
They
true.
Yeah, you're right. When Trey comes back, hopefully he comes back for a couple of years, they need to improve their team sack total by 10, 15 sacks and maybe 30, 40 more pressures. It's a must.
Yeah.
I
Want to
just
pull the
wanted to,
trigger on him?
yeah, do it. Eric, you said something a few minutes ago about how the Bengals might have to score 50. I saw people tweeting that today. 3 plays, we could have won 3 more games. Evan McPherson missed 3 field goals. Those are all true statements. I look at it totally different, Bengal fans. I look at it this way. The Cincinnati Bengals should have had 3 or 4 more wins by double digits or more. That's how good that offense was. But unfortunately, we keep on saying, well, this guy missed a field goal. They should have never been that. It should have never been that because they were so prolific and so powerful on offense. They should have won multiple games by 10 plus points. But, it is. I don't want the Bengals in weekly shootouts, man. My heart can't take it. I cannot take it.
Well, and we had opportunities in almost every one of those games to put it away. A fumble here as we're driving to go up. We were about to put the Ravens out in one of those games, and
Yeah, Chase
an
Brown fumbled.
interception.
Yeah.
It's that Zach Taylor controlled aggression or timely aggression. Too aggressive when you need to be a little more conservative, and not aggressive enough when you should be pedal to the metal. And that's really one of the big things that's going to need to change this year because you got a quarterback like Joe Burrow. Sometimes you got to dial him in and say, you know what? I know you can go out and win this game for us, but let's be a little bit more conservative. And then Zach really has to learn how to handle those situations, when to dial Joe back and when to crank him up. And he hasn't been able to do that yet, and It cost us 3 or 4 games last year.
Well, let's go over our picks.
Yeah, so the Bengals Pulse has taken some swings, and we are shoring up the 2025 roster, and every one of these is going to be perfect. Armand Membu, offensive tackle out of Missouri, goes 18th. That's back-to-back years we draft an offensive tackle at the 18th pick. Obviously, we're moving this one to guard, but crazy that back-to-back years. We then have pick 49. We get Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State. At pick 81, we pick up Mason Taylor, tight end out of LSU. At 97, that we got in a trade, we pick up Jordan Birch, edge rusher out of Oregon. 119, we draft a safety out of Virginia, Jonas Sanker. 139, we also acquired via trade. We draft a bruiser running back Ollie Gordon II out of Oklahoma State. And we ended the draft with defensive tackle, pass rushing specialist Riley Mills.
So we
This
picked
taking
up
us to the
one
Super
more
Bowl,
pick.
guys?
Yeah, we picked up one more. I would have liked another offensive lineman, but I think value-wise, it just wasn't going to be there. I think Taylor was a good value pick.
Yeah.
There wasn't another interior offensive lineman there. We would have reached if we would have grabbed one. Very happy. If we got Membu from Missouri, if he's there at 17, they need to run up to the podium and get him because he's going to be a long-term starter. Williams, he's another
not
tackle. He's a he's not going to be a free technique, but we need bodies.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this draft. Aside from, like you said, Mon, another offense. We went D-line heavy. I think we could have went with one less defensive lineman and either another offensive lineman or a corner. But I mean, this is a nice group. If it looks anything like this on draft day, we should be celebrating.
Will Jake be crashing out over any of these?
Well, Jake.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's 3 less receivers than he'd like in the draft, but
we got to go with the ideal pick. Actually, we should have just drafted people that Jake would have been upset with, because I know he's going to listen to this back and he's going to say, "What are you doing there? You're an idiot." That's where we should have gone.
Yeah,
Ashton Genty. We should have just kept hitting restart until Ashton Genty is there, and then we'll post that and say, "Jake, do you love our draft?"
We need to get the greatest hits. I know we have hours of footage of hot takes. You remember players that he wanted the year before that he never put on record that he wanted him the year before.
Can we pull up the one comment from Devon from 822?
So the comment that Justin's referring to, Devon says, "I think there are too many defensive linemen in the first round to pass on. Game-changing talent we desperately need." What are your thoughts, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, it's fair, but as we saw through the draft, it's a deep draft, so I think you really got to strongly consider it at 17. But if there's someone they're really sold on, like the Texas offensive lineman, or say someone crazy drops like Tyler Warren, and they want to hold off on D-line until later, I think they can do that in this draft. But I'm definitely of the opinion that if you can get an elite pass rusher, if you can go get a Shamar Stewart, James Pierce will be interesting. I think he has the tools to be a perennial Pro Bowler, but there's also been some character concerns.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got to juggle that. We've seen how often that's bit us in the butt in recent years when we take a chance on those guys. But every situation's different. He's young. I think he's only 20 years old, and he is a big time player. So you got to weigh the pros and cons there, and whether or not you think you can rein him in, and if he just needs to mature a little more.
Yeah, Devon, just remember the simulator. They had Mbu ranked 7th rated player in this draft, and he slid all the way back to 18. That's just big time value, big time. I think it's one of those situations where, if you can get a top 5, 10 pick that slides back to 18, you got to jump all over it. But that's a valid point. That's a good point. We tried to address that in the second round with another run stuffer. I would not be mad about that. I know we need some interior pass rush. We haven't had one since Larry Ogunjobi. But, guys, the Cincinnati Bengals have been absolutely punked in the trenches for 2 years, pushed around. I think they're giving up 150, 160 yards a game rushing. It's not sustainable. It's not. And I think somebody like that would help tremendously. It really would. We're really young on the defensive line. Jenkins last year, McKinley Jackson.
Yep.
Slayton is 27, correct? So,
Yep.
he's played 4 years. If we got Williams, we're even going to be, younger there. But that's a lot better than bringing out J2, Faley, and Zach Carter, guys who just weren't getting it done.
Yeah. I mean, feel like we have a lot of needs to talk about, and we go round and round on it. It's a little unfortunate that we have
We'll do this
we can't
again.
just focus. Yeah, yeah. It's unfortunate we can't focus on just one position. Maybe the next time we come back on here, we are gonna obviously gonna do some more mock drafts this year, and hopefully the next time we'll have some clarity on the positions that we really need. Yes, Mon.
One question, just one question. Last one before we head out of here. Some people mentioned no cornerback in this draft.
Oh yeah, can we pull that one up, P. Crawley?
Yeah.
Comment?
I got it. There you go. Oh, sorry, Eric. Good,
We're doing a dance here.
Yeah. If I'm telling you right now, I said it last year and I said it the year before. If there's a cornerback at 17, I would not be stunned if the Cincinnati Bengals pick him. I know we use Dax Hill, DJ Turner, Cam Taylor, Britt. We've spent a lot of Fig Newton, a lot of draft capital on the defensive backfield. You can never have enough.
You can't.
If you don't have them, you know it. You're in serious trouble. Serious trouble. Guys, I'm not sold on our safeties. I am not. Jordan Battle, I like. I think he can be a player. Geno Stone was one of the worst tackling safeties in football last year. Horrible angles. He did play a little better in the second half. I appreciate that. I think he's going to be on the team again. But safety is a need also. It really is. Everybody talks about Watts from Notre Dame because of Golden. If Malachi Starks is at 17, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to pull a Jake if they don't.
He didn't test that well, did he?
Now, everybody compares him to Jesse Bates. I just think, the Bengals need that. They need a playmaker back there, and I think he would be that guy.
Yeah, and I think Lou Anaruma has said this a lot. You can never have too many cornerbacks. It's a lot like offensive linemen. But I will also bring up to point this out. Dax Hill may be our best corner on the team, even coming off of injury. But what's going on with Dax Hill? This is his 4th year. We have to decide if we're going to pick up his 5th-year option. Even if we do, we only have Dax Hill for maybe 2 years left. Before then, you have to turn around and give him a big contract, and we probably won't. Cam Taylor Britt. He's going to be due a contract soon. Our safety is only on a 2-year deal, even if we roll with him. Geno Stone, if we continue to roll with him. So just because we have a lot of corners doesn't mean that we have a lot of corners for a long time. Those guys could all be gone in a year or two. So as Mana said before, a lot of times we like to pick our replacements a year too early, and corner wouldn't be surprised if that comes off the board. So we're at creeping up on an hour here. We do appreciate everybody rolling with our first fun off-season mock draft. It's fun to kind of kick the tires on this one and get it out of the way. You guys have any last-minute thoughts or comments before we get out of here?
No, Justin, thanks for coming on. We'll have you on quite a bit more for the draft. Let's just switch up simulators. Let's go PFF next time. They have different databases and all that. There's a lot of great sims out there. And if you want, we could do, each of us could do our own mock draft, and we can compare it and see, and we could justify each pick and critique each other. We'll do a lot of that. We got about 40 days before the draft, so it's coming up, guys.
Yeah, Justin's any thoughts on this night or the draft?
No, I think I think when you look at our needs and you look at what's available, I think it actually plays into our favor. It's going to be a deep year on the defensive line, especially. I think there's going to be plenty of options on the offensive line, and opportunities to improve at running back, safety, and linebacker. So I think this sets up really well for Cincinnati. But we'll see how it plays out. I feel like so often we look at, we kind of get guys in our heads that we like, and then they go in a totally different direction. But one thing I will say is it seems like the Bengals front office has put more of an emphasis on RAS and athleticism, especially in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and which is something we all believe in, and in this on the show here. So glad to see that they've really start to kind of get into those metrics and evaluating potential options, and hopefully that trend continues.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so. So, just a programming note, I'm fully expecting breaking news at like 11:20 tonight. Maybe I'll take my watch off and put my phone on silent so that Mon has to go live without me again. But I feel like something's gonna break, and if it breaks, we're gonna go live as quickly as we can. Hopefully it breaks when we're not at work and we can actually get on here and talk to you all about the news, share our excitement, share maybe hopefully no disappointment in the signings, but feel something coming. The Bengals have stretched this out to really, really keep us buying in. It is season ticket upgrade and addition season, so maybe they're playing it out there to really get those people excited and purchasing more of those tickets. But something's coming. I can really feel it. But with that, we want to thank Justin for joining us tonight. I want to change your Twitter handle. If not, I'm going to change what we call you on here. It's no longer Justin L. Wells. This is Justin Kuiper. He is our draft expert. Mel Kiper's got nothing on him. I mean, you need to get on
Yeah,
ESPN. You need to get
I kind of
somewhere.
got
But
my hair now too. It's sort of got
yeah, yeah. He
yeah,
could have gone anywhere, and he chose to come to the Bengals Pulse, and that is how we pull him in.
Product.
You
Use that
know.
product. Yeah. All right.
yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Before we get out of here, if you notice on the screen, we do have our QR code that takes you directly to our X page. Please like and subscribe. Like our X page, like the video on YouTube, subscribe. It really lets more Bengals visitors or Bengals fans see us. Make sure you follow Mon at the Firemon on Twitter. Uh, Justin is at Justin L. Wells, and of course at Coach Jake Owens 9. And as always, the Cincinnati Pod, we wouldn't be anything without them. So go ahead and give them a follow too. There's a lot of big things going on there. If you guys get a chance, if you haven't already seen it, go watch that Carl Pickens interview that Ace and Zim did. Was phenomenal. Carl Pickens, the guy that I grew up watching, but just great. What a great interview. What a great guy. And it's nice to see him out there interacting with fans. With that, that's another edition of the Bengals Pulse. We will see you out there, Bengals fans. Hoo day.